Welcome back, you filthy animals. Another Fat Guy Builds here. Ball joints on this truck here. All of them are bad, apparently. So now we're going to do the lower control arms because they come with the ball joints. I don't feel like pressing in and pressing out ball joints. So doesn't cost that much. Just buy the control arms. So let's get to this thing step by step. Step one, get the truck in the air. Take the wheels off. To get the shock out, you need a 17 mil on there. And then this is a slotted head. And you're going to use a 9 millimeter, like so, to hold the center of the shock from spinning and spinning and spinning. So you have to hold the top while you loosen it with this 17. And then this nut will come right off. Use a deep 13 millimeter socket to remove the two nuts on the bottom here. And that will release the shock. And the shock will now drop out through the bottom. You're going to need a tool like this. This is from AutoZone 27035. And this guy goes in through the center of the spring. And it allows you to compress the spring on this style of this truck, the 2500 Ram, so that you can actually get the control arms off without killing yourself. To get the lower control arm off, you're going to need to compress it. So you put that tool in there, compress the poop out of it, and that way the pressure's off the lower control arm. Use a 16 millimeter, and you're going to take this guy off. And then once you have the control arm all the way off, it's easy to flip the control arm over and get this one down in here. Take this bottom nut all the way off, thread it on 1 or 2 turns just by hand, and then you're gonna beat the heck out of this guy until they separate like that. Then you're just gonna remove this the last 2 or 3 turns. Then we can focus on the connection points to the frame on the control arm on the back side. So this is the bolt towards the back of the car. Use a 24 millimeter. Do the double box wrench trick to get the leverage. And loosen this guy up all the way, because we're going to have to take this bolt out, as well as that one back there, which looks identical. So the front one's 24 mil, back one's 24 mil. This is just an adjuster slider nut thing that adjusts for doing the alignment, so that's not threaded. Put the adjusters in order on which way they went, then pound the pieces out. Pound them out like so. And then you're going to want to support the control arm so it doesn't just fall to the floor. So I'd probably suggest taking out the back spring first, then going ahead and taking out the front bolt, and then catch the spring. But see how it's nice and loose. So really it's just the heaviness of everything is what you're gonna have to fight right now. Use an 18 millimeter for the bottom of the sway bar end link. You just zip that off. So the bottom ball joint for mine is actually worse. It goes up and down. Like this one is ready to pop out. Driver's side lower control arm, RK621265. This is the driver's side lower. Start the ball joint first, have everything else hanging like so. And then you're going to put the spring back in, the compressed spring. Put that guy back in. Then you're going to lift these corners up, back into here, slide the bolts in. Easy, right? Except I'm fat and out of breath. So let's see how hard this is. To get these guys in, I had to use 2 jacks. Line it up. Make sure your spring's not bound up. There's a little ring on the top that you need to fit in the middle here. So you have to make sure it's seated correctly. Then you get the first one in, and then these have a keyed part, so that should match. So the hump part should be the same on both sides. So if the hump is facing up, the hump's going to face up on both sides. And then you're going to hold the one end, and you're going to get this guy sort of tight. But this is just like when I did the top control arm in the other video. You're not going to tighten these fully until the truck is on its tires on the ground, because you don't want incorrect pressure on these rubber bushings. You want the truck to be sitting correctly, then tighten it down, then the bushings aren't stressed.